After my divorce, I moved into a new neighborhood with my 6-year-old daughter, Dorothy. My husband and I tried our best, but sometimes things don't work out as you expect them to. He was having an affair and eventually came out about it. He said he wants to start fresh with this woman. I, on the other hand, was aware of all this, but procrastinated confrontation thinking about Dorothy. But when, as a father, he didn't care about his daughter, I realized this man doesn't deserve us anymore. So I let him go and stepped into a fresh start myself as well. I rented an apartment in a moderately looking building. I didn't want to spend much at that point because I was awaiting a promotion. I planned to shift to a New York office and stay with my mom for a while. I wanted Dorothy to be around her loving grandmother so that she can cope with her dad not being there. The apartment was quite big for the two of us and did come at a much lower cost than I assumed. But I thought maybe because of its condition, the landlady gave it at a cheap rate. A long, narrow corridor leads inside the apartment from the entrance. 2 bedrooms and a kitchen area resided at the end of it. Dorothy's room and my room stood face to face. That was the main reason I chose this apartment. I could see clearly into her room from my bed, which I needed at this point to have an eye on her at night because my daughter suffers from somnambulism. That in layman's language stands for sleepwalking. I don't know why she does that, but her doctor says it's just a phase, and with some precautions, she'll eventually improve. Earlier, her sleepwalking episodes occurred once a week, but after the divorce, it's become recurrent. Like last night, I dozed off on the couch in the living room. I woke up from my slumber hearing a clicking sound on the door. I got up and discovered Dorothy wasn't in her room, and the main door was wide open. I rushed outside and saw her sleepwalking in the empty corridor in the middle of the night. Thank God I stopped her before she stumbled down the stairs. After carrying her back to her bed, I couldn't sleep the entire night. It was terrifying to realize that even in her sleepwalking mode, she managed to unlock the door. Her psychiatrist, Mr. Mueller, also said it was unnatural. He told me that I must keep an eye on her. But not just her sleepwalking. There are other eerie incidents as well that bother me these days. Since we moved to this apartment, I could feel how scary silence could be. There are very few people living here. I thought we were the only ones living on our floor, but one day when I was coming back from grocery shopping, something weird happened. Dorothy was in school. As I came near the door, I kept all my bags on the floor and started to look for my keys in my bag. I was just about to unlock the door when I felt the door of the opposite apartment open slightly. I could hear the creaking noise of the door. After unlocking my door, when I turned around to say hello to my neighbor, I found the door closed like before. It felt really weird because whoever was inside the apartment just opened the door, watched me, and closed it before I could turn around. The air sometimes feels heavy and too cold. I don't know why, but I don't get a good vibe around me here. I was working in the kitchen when I saw Dorothy's school bus dropping her off. The kitchen window faces the streets. I opened the window and yelled, "Come up, dear." Dorothy smiled and ran inside the apartment. We live on the first floor, so it takes only a minute or two for her to run inside. But when 5 minutes went by and still she didn't get in, I got worried. I came outside and saw she was standing near the door of the opposite apartment. She was smiling like she does whenever she greets people. I asked, "Dorothy, what are you doing there?" She turned at me and said, "Nothing, Mom. I'm hungry." She then ran inside without saying anything more. For the first time, I felt like she lied to me. I fixed her lunch, and while she ate, I asked again, "Was there someone talking to you?" "Where, Mom?" "Our opposite apartment. You know." "No, Mom." "Then who were you smiling at?" "No one." I could see her avoiding this conversation. Kids can act weird sometimes, so I too let it go. We watched cartoons together, and Dorothy never mentioned a single word about the neighbor's apartment. After dinner, I kissed her goodnight and double-locked the main door so that she couldn't open it this time. The next morning when she went to school, I decided to go to a shop and get a new handset. My phone was giving me some trouble the past few days, and it was time to buy a new one. Dorothy loves playing games on my phone, so I couldn't wait for her to come home and get all busy with it. I made some delicious chicken and pasta for dinner and sat near the computer to finish my last file of the day. I've been working remotely for a year now, and considering my situation, this is proving to be the best option for me right now. Time went by, and I heard Dorothy's school bus honking horns. Before I could get up, she came inside and said, "Mom, you bought a new phone?" "How do you know that?" She looked here and there and said in a hesitant voice, Marlen told me." I was shocked to hear this name for the first time. Who is Marlen? The woman who lives in our opposite apartment." "Oh. When did you meet her, and how did she know I got a new phone?" "She knows. Please, let me see." I gave her the phone and she got busy with it as I expected. Out of shock and confusion, I went to the next door apartment and rang the doorbell. I wanted to talk to this Marlen because it felt creepy that she was keeping an eye on us like a stalker. I rang twice, thrice, but no one opened the door. Maybe she's out. I thought, I'll confront her in the morning. Dorothy played games the entire day, and when it was time for dinner, I found her asleep on the bed. I couldn't wake her up as she slept so peacefully. She was grasping my phone tightly. I let her sleep like that and came back to my bed. Around 2:30 a.m., I woke up all of a sudden. As my eyes went to Dorothy's room, I saw she wasn't in her bed. I ran outside and found the main door opened once again. Dorothy was sleeping on the floor near the door opposite of our apartment. Not just that, she had my phone with her. I took the phone away and carried her to my room. I then tucked her into bed once again. I was worried like hell. Why did she end up there? What is the deal with this Marlen? The next morning, when I checked the phone, I found some shocking news. There were pictures of Dorothy sleeping near that apartment door. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized someone took this picture of her while she was alone in the middle of the night. But as I checked the last picture, the blood in my veins turned to ice. In the last picture, I could see a bony, tall woman standing behind her while looking at the camera with burning eyes. No doubt she's the one who took the selfie while Dorothy slept on the floor. Hate and disgust were drooling from her piercing stare. I have never seen such a cruel face, ever. I got furious, thinking instead of caring for this poor child, she went on taking selfies with my sleeping daughter. I was going to call the landlady to complain about this Marlen when I heard heavy breathing behind me, and as I turned back, I saw a woman-like figure walking away. Look at her audacity. She entered my house and was watching me all this time? I rushed and peeked in the corridor to scream at this mannerless, weird woman, but I froze. The woman in the picture was standing near my main door. She was standing at the end of the corridor with that same scary stare. What she did next freaked me out. Without opening the door, she kind of passed through it like air and disappeared. I couldn't believe my eyes and screamed while fainting on the floor. When I woke up, I saw our landlady, Mrs. Smith, was standing near my bed, while Dorothy sat near me. She came to hear my scream that also woke up my daughter. Dorothy opened the door and somehow let Mrs. Smith in. I told her everything, and she shook her head with a guilty face. She told me that the reason I got this apartment for a cheap rate was because of some disturbing reasons. A woman named Marlen stayed next door who hung herself after losing her daughter in a car accident. I left that place right away, but it still scares me to sleep thinking my daughter and I saw a dead woman inside our apartment. Since then, surprisingly, Dorothy has never sleepwalked again.